More than 500 parliamentarians from across the Commonwealth have gathered in Dhaka, Bangladesh, in the first week of November 2017 for the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference, under the conference theme of continuing to enhance high standards of performance of parliamentarians. The conference discussion have focused on the importance of development for parliamentarians and, in turn, Parliament's performance as a guarantor of democracy as an independent pillar in the separation of powers.
And ballots haven't been issued. The 21 people haven't turned up to take ballots.
The 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference takes place ahead of the 2018 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, the Commonwealth Summit in London, UK. The outcomes of the conference, as well as a unique parliamentary perspective, will feed directly into the 2018 summit, which is themed towards a common picture.
Windy town, elegant, green view too.
Hosted by the CPA President and Chairperson, Honorable Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhuri MP, Speaker of the Parliament of Bangladesh. The 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference is the annual conference of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA. This conference provides an unique platform for inter-parliamentary dialogue to take place, bringing together speakers, members of parliament and parliamentary staff representing the 9 regions of the CPA, 52 countries of the Commonwealth and over 180 national, state, provincial and territorial parliaments and legislatures. Workshops and debates have been held during the conference on a wide range of related topics, including the role of Parliament in addressing the challenges of democracy, the role of trade in building stronger ties within the Commonwealth, climate change in the Commonwealth context, and giving a voice to the youth of the Commonwealth.
Carnival, legendary, eternity, windy.
During the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference, in an exclusive interview with GB Television, Juan Watterson, Speaker of the House of Keys and a member of Rushen in the Isle of Man, has expressed a lot of expectations about the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference 2017.
Thank you very much for joining with us. First of all, is this your first time visit in Bangladesh? How do you like this Bangladesh? Please share your experience.
Yeah, it's my first time in Bangladesh. I've had a wonderful time here. It's a beautiful country, wonderful people, excellent hospitality. It's been an absolutely wonderful conference like that, and so I commend all the organising authorities for the work that they've done.
What do you think are be a benefit of being a part of a CPA?
I think it's very important to be a part of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Our objectives are the promotion of democracy, and you can't get much more important than that. The fantastically broad level of democracy from the world's smallest nations to the world's biggest nations. Bangladesh is one of the biggest nations with 160 million people. The Isle of Man, a very small nation with only 85,000 people. But it's important that we have an opportunity to bring all those nations together for the benefit of for those objectives that we hold dear.
What's your expectation from the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference 2017?
Well, we've talked about a lot of issues. We've talked about issues as wide-ranging as corruption, to youth, to visa applications, to the strengthening of democratic institutions. So there's been an awful lot of work done. And of course, as we speak, we're voting for the next chairman of the organisation who will lead us forward for the next few years. So it's a very important conference.
From your own aspect, what are the achievements from the 63rd Commonwealth Parliament Conference this year?
Well, certainly in terms of the Small Countries Conference, which I was very much involved in, an opportunity to meet fellow parliamentarians from other small branches and talk about common challenges. From a wider perspective, one of the things that the Bangladesh host has managed to do was bring young people into the conference for, I think, the first time, so that they can actually share their experiences and talk about their recommendations to promote democracy, to promote young people as part of a parliamentary system. And that was something that hasn't been tried before, but it was a real benefit, a real advantage, and something that I think has worked really well in this conference.
Commonwealth Parliamentary Association always has been playing a significant role to strengthening the democracy. But most of the Commonwealth countries, the democracy is not fully established as yet. In this context, to more dynamic and to full established democracy, what kind of role to 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference will play in these countries?
Well, strengthening democracy goes hand in hand with combating corruption, and the two things that will achieve both of those is both strengthening the institutions, whether they are the judiciary, whether they are anti-corruption bodies, whether they are declarations of interest or codes of conduct, but also then having people who play by the rules and who understand those rules and are well equipped to play by those rules. That is very important as well. So we need to both educate our parliamentarians as well as have strong institutions. So strong institutions, well run, and a culture of playing by the rules are the things that will bring us together.
Corruption is a main obstacle to achieve the goal of a country. Is there any strong decision from the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference to combat the corruption from the Commonwealth countries?
Certainly in the small countries conference we had a whole session on this, and we talked about different institutions that play a different part in combating corruption. So I said that involves the police, it involves the judiciary, it involves the staff within Parliament themselves, but at the heart of it is a culture of parliamentarians, say, setting rules which they understand, which they abide by, and holding each other to account, as well as having the free press hold them to account as well. So the role of journalism in that process was also very important.
There have been extra initiative by the CPC as a lead of encourage the involvement of youth. How do you think this will help the conferences?
Well, I started off as a Commonwealth Youth Parliamentarian myself. 17 years ago, when I was 20 years old, I attended the Commonwealth Youth Parliament as a delegate from the Isle of Man. And here I am now, 17 years later, 11 years in Parliament, 5 years as a backbencher, 5 years as a minister, and now as Speaker. And who would have thought that when you attend something like the Commonwealth Youth Parliament that it would give such a platform and such an opportunity to actually go on to a career in politics. But we've talked about engaging youth in terms of bringing their decisions in to Parliament, so that the Commonwealth Youth Parliament and national youth parliaments actually have a direct connection with the full parliaments of each of those countries. And that's very important to make sure that the youth voice is heard and be seen to be heard.
What kind of steps should be taken for building the parliamentary capacity?
Well, one of the things that the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association does really well is bringing people together, and we learn from each other. We learn by sharing experiences. So, for example, we have a delegation coming over in the next few weeks from the Falkland Islands, and they're going to learn about how we do the Public Accounts Committee, so that they can learn lessons and they can go home. They've got a new clerk, a new chairman, and they can learn from those who have got more experience in this area to help run their democratic institutions. So this is a key part of learning from each other and bringing each other together. And the Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference is a rare opportunity to bring people from large nations and small nations with vastly different expertise, experienced parliamentarians and new parliamentarians, so that we can all learn from each other, and long may it continue.
While implementing the power by women parliamentarians, they face a lot of discrimination. How to overcome this discrimination?
Well, I think what you've seen in the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association is that that discrimination seems to have evaporated. We have got 3 candidates for chairman of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and all 3 of them are women. And I think that says a lot about women empowerment within the Commonwealth.
What should be done to empower the women parliamentarians?
Well, different nations have different cultures and different solutions. Some of those go down the path of having quotas and in parties and in Parliament. And there are different solutions in different countries. What we've found in the Isle of Man is that the proportion of women who are elected is directly proportional to the number of women who stand. And that's interesting, because there are very low barriers to standing, and that's very important. It should be easy to be a candidate, and then it's up to those candidates to impress their voters.
What is the message for Commonwealth parliamentarians?
The most important message for Commonwealth parliamentarians is to continue an institution like the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, to continue to learn, to continue to challenge expectations, to continue to serve the voters in your own country through the medium of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, through meeting other parliamentarians, and through a constant process and culture of improvement. And that way we will best serve the billions of people around the world that we are elected to represent.
Thank you very much, and
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.